Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Around the Ballpark podcast. It is Thursday. We are live. It is 9 o'clock. We are a little bit later than usual, but that's okay. We wanted our later audience today anyway.
Yes.
But we are going to talk all things Major League Baseball. We are 1 week into the season, so much to talk about. But Darren, just want to see how you're doing. I know it's been about a week and a half since we've been live, so just want to check in how you're doing. And then we'll talk about how our folks are doing in Nashville Tax Solutions.
Well, I think the way that I can express it is just 3 words: perky and vivacious. I think those are the 3 words that say how I'm doing. And I think I say the same for you, right? And I was bubbly, maybe bubbly we throw that in too. No, I'm great. I'm absolutely great. It's baseball season. I mean, and we have a lot to talk about. And
so much to talk about. So much to talk about. And so before we do, though, because once we start, then we won't be able to finish, and then we'll forget. So we want to make sure our super cool, proud sponsors at Nashville Tax Solutions.
Attention, Palm Bay and Fort Pierce. Are you struggling with tax issues? Whether you're behind on filings, dealing with a lien, or you just need expert guidance, Nashville Tax Solutions here to help. Their team knows the ins and outs of tax relief and is ready to fight for you. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to their clients. Chris Bennett and his team saved me from a financial nightmare. They're knowledgeable, clear, and compassionate. So don't let tax troubles keep you up at night. Call 855-627-4829. Visit NashvilleTaxSolutions.com or email info@NashvilleTaxSolutions.com today. Nashville Tax Solutions, because tax problems deserve real solutions.
Yes, thank you, Darren, and thank you to the fine folks over there at Nashville Tax Solutions. And we already have a comment from good old Brian Anderson. How about them Yankee bats? Yes. We are gonna talk about those torpedo bats here just in a moment. We have to. I think that's where we're gonna go to start things.
Hey, remember we were talking a little bit before we began? It was just a little repartee, and I mentioned that I had a little surprise for you.
Yes.
Well, really, the surprise is for you and for Eileen. Do you want to see the surprise?
I'm ready.
Dun, dun, dun.
Drum roll. Oh, okay. That is nice.
Yeah, baby. Add it to the collection. Brand new. Add it to the collection.
Now, I got to ask you this, though. Is there a name on the back?
Yes.
What does it say?
That's asked and answered.
Yes, because if there's a name on the back, they'll probably be traded by the end of this live recording. But
they're already on another team. So here's what I do. Okay, for those kids playing at home, you want a little secret? This is just sport and race gear. That's right. I got a lot of stuff here, and so here's what I do. I go onto eBay. Right. And I don't care what the name is on the back. I really don't, because it's all about what's on the front. Right. I mean, and it just shows that I love the sports. I love baseball. And of course, it doesn't matter that Snell's name is on the back with the big number 4. That's it. It's it.
Yep.
Blake.
Yep. Nope. He's doing great things. But yeah.
But not for the race.
Yeah. I mentioned the Yankee bat, but no, that's so cool. That is awesome. Every time we get one, it's like they're traded within the same season. We joke, but it's the truth. But you can't go wrong with.
Happened to my son. With the Ryan McDonough, who was, interestingly enough, traded, I think, to Tampa at that point. Yvette of Carolina, and he literally just got the jersey. Hey, this is good. Traded.
Traded that quickly. That's all it took. So let's talk about those torpedo bats. So it started as a Yankee thing, but then little by little, more and more people were using it. I don't know if it was because of what they saw in that game, where the infamous game they're talking about, coincidentally, was when Aaron Judge hit 3 home runs not using the torpedo bat.
Yep.
But MLB has made it clear that they are legal bats.
They're legal.
Yep, they're legal. I think what maybe stirred something, obviously, outside of the run pouring, because we think of the Brewers as the team with good pitching that's not giving up that many runs. I think it was the fact that it was guys like Jazz Chisholm Jr. that are not known home run guys doing what they did, but there's nothing outside the rules, and so there's nothing that can be done about it. And it's not like it's only the Yankees can use these things, right? It's still a preference.
Big Yankee fan. They're doing nothing wrong. It's called innovation. And by the way, Francisco Lindor of the Mets has the same bat. He used it the first game of the season, but it got no press. So, a lot of people using these bats. The Braves what a clown show that's been, huh? I mean, the 0-7, listen, to their credit, they got some people injured. They got one guy thrown out for PEDs. And they were playing the Padres and the Dodgers. So it's not like they played 7 games against the White Sox. But they also ordered those torpedo bats.
Yeah, no, and we can go there next. You mentioned the Atlanta Braves, like you mentioned, the Dodgers and the Padres 0-7 against those two teams. They start a series now with Miami, so we'll see how they can get back on track. It can be easy to feel like now, of course, already, ESPN and other outlets are throwing that stat out there. No team has ever made the playoffs at 0-7. But the problem with that stat, though, is this is 2025 where 6 teams per league make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So that stat may mean something if it was back in 2022 or earlier, but we're in 2025. And so a team that starts 0-7, especially the Braves, can right the ship. Not that I want them to, right? We want them to finally be brought down to earth a little bit. But It's like the Braves absolutely should not be panicking. Just get that win. I know looking at the Phillies at 5-1, you're sitting there at 0-7. It's easy. But you haven't played a division team yet, and you can rack up. You can catch. That's how you catch up. The interleague or playing other teams in the National League is one thing, but you can only gain ground by playing the teams ahead of you. So
exactly,
that's really all it comes down to. So just one win tonight, and they'll right the ship, and they'll put a few wins together there. So I'm not really concerned now. If you ask me who would be the 0-7 team, I would never in my right mind think the Braves. But again, look at they played. And let's go there next, Darren. Let's talk about who they played. Let's talk about the Dodgers first. Team that doesn't look like they're going to lose a single game this season. Of course, I'm kidding, but this is a team that could legitimately win 110, 117 games based on that pitching staff. They don't even have Ohtani pitching yet. Clayton Kershaw is not back yet. They're just loaded top to bottom. Doesn't matter who's injured. The next guy steps in, and it's like they're not even, losing a step. So they go to Tokyo. They win the 2-game series there with the Cubs, of course, and then they basically take 5 straight after that. Or it's actually now they're sitting at they're at 8-0 now, correct?
8-0.
Yep, 8-0. Yep. So, everything's going right for them. What have you seen for them? I know they had that big walk-off by Ohtani and stuff, but anything you've seen from them that jumps out at you outside of the norm, outside of your Ohtanis and your starting pitching?
Yes. A lot of people thought that Mookie Betts was ill. There was something really going on with him. He did lose a lot of weight, but he's hitting home runs and clutch. And listen, Freddie Freeman is out a little bit right now. I think what can hurt this team is, when we were kids growing up, right, the rabbit and the hare. Remember that race? That story. I think the only thing that could stop them is themselves, injuries and complacency. LA, listen, I lived out in California for 16 years. You've been to my house out there. If they get a little rest on their laurels, somebody can kind of catch them if they're injured. But other than that, they're going to be in the championship game where they will lose. I am predicting today they are not even going to make the World Series. They will get knocked off. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, and I think now I believe you might even be quoting the 30 Parks in 30 Days podcast series. So if you haven't checked that out, you definitely.
I heard that was really, really good. I heard that was really good.
And if you didn't hit like on it yet, shame on you. But go ahead and go back and watch whatever your team is and your other team. Hit like on those videos. That really helps us out. But he even said on the Dodgers video that as good as they're going to be, and they may definitely be the best team in the league, but they're not, according to Darren, they're not making the World Series, falling just short. So we will see how that goes. And of course, sitting in that division are the San Diego Padres. Now, I personally have yet to watch a Padre game this season, but from what I've seen in highlights here and there and stuff like that, again, this is another team. I saw a little bit of Dylan Cease pitching, but this is another team that doesn't fool around. And, it's great to see that our guy from the Mets made the team, and he's playing. I saw him playing Iglesias playing third base the other day. So that's a great story. They do go to Chicago tomorrow, so they will be on the road. Chicago's going to be ready to go, that home crowd, and so that could be a trap game there. And I feel like they'll be brought down a little bit to earth. I think they'll definitely have 3 or 4 losses well before the Dodgers do.
They're a great example. I'm glad you brought them up because they've underperformed the last couple of years. And they're very, very talented. All flowers that they deserve, even with or without Juan Soto. But they lose they gain complacency, rather. They lose focus. And they kind of just lollygag it in the middle of the year. So I care but don't care about their wonderful start so far. But they have to continue to win series because it's going to be real easy to lose pace with the Dodgers. They remind me of the '86 Mets in that regard, where they started out 2-5, and then they ended up just dominating.
Yeah, yep, that's true. So that is going to be a fun division to watch. But I need to say this though, even though again I've watched a lot of baseball this week, like a lot of baseball, but I have not seen the San Francisco Giants play. But the San Francisco Giants are no joke either. I know it's early on, and it's a tough, tough division and everything. But the San Diego Padres, they're sitting there at 5-1, 2 games back to the division. Kind of awkward, but this is a team that, of course, they may come back down to earth and whatnot, but not given much respect because of the Diamondbacks, the Padres, and the Dodgers. So it's going to be fun watching this division all year long. I really feel bad for the poor Rockies if they could just. Hopefully they put their request in to move to a new division.
Yeah, they did get the win in, so they got the win for the season. So that's good. Get it out of the way. The 1-5.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to tell you something about the Diamondbacks who are playing the Yankees. I don't know if Brian is still with us or not. They're very tough out. They're just cantankerous. They play smart baseball, and they just don't give up.
Yeah, no, they do. And that home run that Suarez hit, and I think I saw a stat that Suarez has the 3rd most home runs in the last 2-3 years. He just doesn't get any recognition, any love. But he's a great ball player. So it was nice to see Arizona do what they did. They're sitting there at 4-2. You would think, again, 4-2, 4th place. What? That's crazy. But again, it's overreaction. To saying it's been 1 week of the season. So let's see how things actually go. Like Brian said, they got a lot of baseball left. I do got to say though, Darren, I need to know who this was. There was a person on this podcast that was kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but they were questioning their sanity in thinking that the Los Angeles Angels would have a good team this year. Now, we're not overreacting, but they are sitting there at 4-2 already, and they're looking really, really good. So, Darren, I believe that was you. So, have you seen any Angels baseball just yet, or just?
Yeah, yes, I have. Trout went deep yesterday against the Cardinals, his first home run of the year. I just think that they are going to, again, not bowl anybody over. They'll make that last wild card spot, 82, 83 wins, 4-2. Just, the deal. Play 500 on the road, win more than you lose at home, and you got a shot. I think they're just like one of those teams that, you're going to go in there, you're going to get beat. Listen, different subject, same subject. Who are you going to take a break against? Seattle? Okay, maybe. But you're going to be in L.A., you're in California, and, Keith Hernandez talks about it on the show, during the broadcast. He used to anyway, all the time. That the Mets knew they had an advantage because the other team, especially the first time into New York for the season, would go out, get a steak, stay out late. This is LA. If the Angels just play well, they'll make the playoffs.
Yeah, and definitely exceeding expectations so far. But like Darren called it, he really thinks that they're going to be competitive this year. I tend to definitely agree with that. So I want to talk about the mess that is the team that is playing in a city that's not allowed to have the city on their jersey.
So terrible.
So terrible. And so a good buddy of mine, a coworker of mine, big Cubs fan, was like, man, I feel depressed. I was like, why? What's wrong? He's like, the Cubs have to leave Sacramento. But I really thought something was wrong with the guy. But man, you shared a little on social media, so if you wouldn't mind kind of reiterating some of that here for our listeners, because it was really good.
So there's a couple of things, just to unpack it a little bit. Tampa plays in a minor league ballpark, but for unbelievable different reasons. That was because of repair to the stadium that they play in, which is totally different than moving, saying, hasta la vista to your fan base, and then say, wait a minute, where we're moving doesn't have a field ready for us, so we're going to play down the road instead of staying in Oakland where I should have been, and we're going to play in a minor league stadium and charge you premium prices. So there's 250 lawn chair seats you can get for $25. Right? Now, those are going to go real quick, especially in this time of year, cold. It's cooler, especially up north, Sacramento, it could be cooler. They're going to go quick. Then the cheapest ticket in that minor league stadium is $100.
The cheapest one, yeah.
The cheapest ticket is $100, and $100. It is. And I've seen what George Steinbrenner Stadium looks like. It looks like they really cleaned it. Looks great. Where Oakland? See how he slipped. Where Sacramento Athletics play, just looks like a minor league stadium. They did nothing to make it look any better. It's just terrible. And parking, and do you have $250 tickets sometimes for what?
For what? Yep.
You and I, if you and I went to the Oakland Coliseum, right, and we got a ticket way up in the bleachers, and we slipped the usher $5-10, we'd be sitting beautiful seats. Yep. So we'll have that same view that they're trying to market. Remember, you and I on this podcast, we talked about how that they were going to price gouge people. How is it with Tampa?
Yep. And we knew it was coming with that. Now with Tampa, they are promoting the $25 seats, kind of similar to that. The prices are high, but they're not what they are leading you to believe online. You can still go to the game for $33 and sit.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, so it's not. That's the cheaper seats. I mean, you're not sitting in the lawn; like you're still getting a seat at $33. But and I think I mentioned, so 2 weeks from tonight. Well, actually 2 weeks from yesterday, but 2 weeks from tonight, I will be in Cincinnati. And so I'm taking my son, Aiden, and we're going for this year. That's the park we picked. And so on I didn't get the tickets for the Thursday game yet, but I'm going to the Wednesday night game against Seattle. And I was able to get a code on StubHub for a first-time user with my email for Around the Ballpark with the $20 off code. So I was able to get 2 tickets. Now, if you watch a Reds game on TV, it looks like nobody's there already, which is really scary. But so you still have to buy a seat, and then you could probably move down as the game progresses and stuff. But I think it's 11th row behind the Reds dugout, and we paid a total of $37 after taxes and fees for both tickets.
How great is that? I mean, seriously, how great is that?
That's great. So I will be very excited. Hopefully, having a little bit of the Skyline chili with Aiden as well. It's a little bit. Mark that off the list. I'll have some shredded carrots on the side.
No, listen. You got to give me a full. I know. It's a good one too. You got to give me a good review, a full review.
Yes, I will definitely do that. We will go live with the Skyline chili. I'll make sure we do that.
Excellent.
So cheap tickets can be found in Tampa, but in Sacramento, and I don't have the picture, but if you don't get a chance, or if you get a chance and you're watching this, Google where the A's are having their press conference. It looks
my gosh.
It almost looks like a giant porta potty, but
no, but it's a portable shed. It's a portable shed.
Yes. It's really, really bad. Man, so things are bad there. You feel bad for the team. You really
do, and I feel bad because they're great fans. They're great fans.
because I think a lot of people still understand, well, why can't they just play in Oakland until they're ready in Las Vegas? And there's so many levels to that. I think I saw that they're going to have a cross league playing in the stadium or something.
Yeah, which is just
so bad. But let's talk about the other minor league team that's kind of been displaced, like you mentioned a little bit, the Rays, the one that you're wearing on your shirt there. So let's start with the good. So there's two things that stood out to me this week. If you're a Tampa Bay Rays fan, there's two things that stood out to me this week. Number one, game number 2, you have a rookie by the name of Jake Magnum. His first MLB start, because in game 1, Josh Lau gets injured and was going to be out for a significant amount of time. So he gets called up. Game 2 of the season, 29 years old. So he's played some time in the minor leagues. And he's gone 8 for 15 this season with a .533 average and 3 stolen bases. Now, everyone's going to come down from that. You can't sustain that. I mean, unless we're looking at Ted Williams reincarnate. However, that just speaks volumes that you come in there and you tee off on major league hitting that quickly. And so he's going to find himself in the lineup a lot. And it's going to be hard when Josh Lowe comes back to move a guy like this out of the lineup. So that is a plus. That is a win. That is a big one. Before I bring up the other positive, there's a big negative. And I want to get your opinion on this. It might have slipped through the cracks on a lot of people's radar. I even watched the game yesterday, but I missed it when I first watched it. And then I realized that was crappy. So a big spot in the game. So the Rays are right there. They're one run behind. I think they're already sitting at the time at 4-1. And Brandon Lau gets pulled for Curtis Mead because of statistics. So apparently it wasn't a Kevin Cash decision. It was more of a, this numbers with this is better. And so Mead gets up there, game on the line, strikes out, Rays lose the game. Who knows what would have happened with Brandon Lau, but you don't do that. Like that was a big no-no. I didn't realize. They stepped out and I'm like, oh, Curtis Mead's up. And then I didn't realize, and they did show Brandon Lau's face in the dugout. I thought that was weird that he wasn't up, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together. But did you catch that by chance?
No, but unfortunately, I'm not surprised. You have been talking about that with the Rays, and even though it's not Cash who did it, just the fact that they pull people way too often. Now, there's going to be people going to say, well, did you watch the Met game the other night where the first-year manager for the Marlins should have pulled their pitcher and they didn't? So, I mean, there's an ebb and flow, and sometimes you have to go with your gut. But when a guy is pitching really well, you keep him in. When somebody's exhausted, and we know what that looks like. You can see them breathing out of their mouth, and they're laboring, and that was not the case. And I think that, unfortunately, that the Rays lose about a half dozen games that they shouldn't lose because of that. Now, you might say, well, they win a half dozen or more for the same reason. I don't know. We don't know. You can't say that. But I can definitely see when they lose because they rely too much on statistics, analytics, and I don't like it.
Yeah, no, they do. It's unfortunate. Now, another positive, and again, there's so many baseball games you can only watch. So I'll find myself randomly going, today I'll watch a Phillies. Today I'll watch this. But we do.
Who are playing very well, by the way.
Yes, they are. We do watch a lot of Rays and Mets, of course. But getting one more thing with the Rays I want to share is the pitching. I did say this in the Rays. I didn't put them making the playoffs, but I almost did. And because even though their lineup seems to be a little bit all over the place and stuff, I really, really like their pitching. And it's shown in the first 6 games. Now, my problem is Ryan Pepio is not a game 1 pitcher. He's not a front of the rotation guy. He's only filling that spot because McClanahan, unfortunately, got injured again. He was going to be the guy. But every pitcher has given up 2 or less runs. So I say every pitcher has been 6 starts, 2 or less runs. They've all gone 6 innings. They don't get the ball in the 7th inning. That's a Tampa Bay rule, and it seems like, which I don't like at all. But 6 games, 2 earned runs or less. And Shane Baz looked like a legit ninja out there. 10 strikeouts, 6 innings. He looked great. Taj Bradley, I still say, even though his stats didn't look great, last year because he was a bad hitting team. This is a guy that can start the All-Star game if he's on. Now, the problem with Taj Bradley is he has 4 or 5 starts that are just a bit ridiculous. But when he's on, he's as good as anyone in the league. I think that highly of him. So he gets that win against Colorado. But so Tampa Bay is going to be tough to beat because of their starting pitcher. You're really going to have to beat them into the bullpen and get them there because their starters are not they're not fooling around and
no
the strikeouts. So they could sneak in. And of course, it's always fun to look at the standings, this early. And of course, the Blue Jays are leading the division with the Rays right behind them, and Tampa or the Yankees tied with them. So again, super early. We know, of course, the Blue Jays travel to New York to play the Mets tomorrow.
The Metsies.
Yep. So what were you going to say?
No, the Mets. Yeah. Yep. So let's talk the Mets for a second.
Yes.
Our catcher, back
Luis Torrens.
Yeah, Torrens is just he's the real deal. I mean, he's the kind of prototypical guy you want as a backup catcher. Defensive stalwart. He saved the game by making an unbelievable tag.
Yes.
When Beatty, I don't know where he's throwing the ball, and Torrens had to come around and whip around and get the guy out at the plate. That's why bench strength is so important. And no Yankee hate when I say that, because I mentioned that to me that is the Yankees' Achilles heel is their bench. I don't know. I think certain teams have bench strength. You saw that, like I said, with Trends, but now he's a starter until Alvarez comes back. What do you think of the Mets so far?
So a lot of people are panicking. Feel like they should be a little bit better than they are. They're sitting there, of course, at 3-3. I think it's a little bit premature now. I think if I had to put my finger, because there's not a lot of consistency. Like when you look at 1 through 4, right, or 5, I guess. First of all, Brandon Nimmo should not be batting fourth. He should not.
Why is he batting fourth? Why is he batting? It's ridiculous. I think they're ruining him by making him a power hitter. He's a gap hitter.
I would love to see him. Now, of course, they're not going to lose Lindor out of 1. Like that's kind of been his thing now, right? So that's gonna stay. I would love to see Nimmo 9. I know that's kind of crazy, but like take all the pressure off. And how great would it be to have a guy that has that much pop and then have another leadoff guy at the bottom? Now, they're not going to drop him there, of course, because various reasons. But they have deep enough lineup. Well, why not? Like I think you go Lindor. You go Lindor 1. You go. I think you go Lindor 1. You go. What do you call it? Vientos 2, then Soto, and then Alonso. And then you go from there. That's where I would go, but they're not seeming like that's not on their radar. They're going to keep Soto 2, and then and Alonso 3. But that's what I would do. I move Nimmo down to 9. Of course, right now we're not getting much production from Beatty or any production really out of Beatty or Acuna. So it's kind of that position right there is kind of our Achilles.
Or Vientos, really.
Yeah, or Vientos, which is sad because I really, really have I've given him a lot of praise. And so slow start, unfortunately for him. Hopefully he kicks it into gear. He has never played Major League Baseball in April before, so
no.
But
we know Lindor starts off slow, and that's okay. He'll come around.
Yeah, Alonso's been the guy. Soto's got on a good amount of times, but Alonso has gotten key hits and key crucial. Like when I saw they were down 4-1, I'm like, here we go again, and then that big 3-run home run. But their bullpen has been absolutely awesome, and that's always been a problem for the Mets. So I'm happy with the 3-3. This is going to be a series, no cakewalk this series, but they've got to win game 1, show that put their foot down and go, we're a team. We're not just a playoff team. We're a team going all the way. So I think it's important that tomorrow. Now, what are your thoughts on I get it because they have a deep bench, but I just feel, and I don't know who the answer is, but like part of me wants Winker in the lineup 5 out of 7 days. The other part of me wants Marte in the lineup 5 out of 7 days. I just don't like the back and forth thing. Siri seems like he's not going to play as much as Tyrone Taylor. So I don't know how I feel about both of those positions being flippity floppity all the time. But
I want to know I don't know why Heater's off the team to begin with. I mean, that center field really worries me. Like I think our best center fielder plays left field. Why is Nemo in left? Why is he not in the center?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yep, I was confused about that as well.
And you know, look, we know that Marte used to play right field. Why not put him in left field and platoon Winkler?
Yeah, and I guess it's because he's a little banged up or something, but like that's something to consider before putting him on the roster, right? Like, because they basically said Marte and Winker, they're not. So that's the thing. Marte and Winker, they're not going to play outfield very much. So they're just going to DH. They're only going to rotate games. So then you're basically saying that Siri or Taylor are going to play every day, and then you have Nimmo every day and Soto every day. So I don't know. I feel like it's a little bit. I don't know if it's a left-right thing or whatever, but Winker, there's just something about him, even though he's not like a money guy. He's just something about like he's the guy that you want.
He's a guy you want. Yeah, he's scrappy. Yeah. You want those pluggers, right? You want those guys that you know are going to work hard, good in the locker room. Let's go. You know.
Yeah. Could you just imagine him on the '86 team, like with guys like Roger McDowell and like he would have fit in. So
perfect.
Transplant him in back in time. I would get a kick out of that stuff, watching the video of with McDowell and all the stunts he would pull with the flaming
the hot tub. Yeah, the hot tub. Yeah, the hot foot.
The hot tub. Yeah, hot foot. Yep. So I think now Peterson's looked great. Tyler McGill looked great. So that's a plus. I think I think they overreacted a little bit on Clay Holmes and put him. I think he can be a rotation guy, but putting that pressure on as your number one starter is a bit tough to do in New York City.
Well, Minai is out for another couple of weeks, which really it becomes a month. If you think about it, right? Because
having him great. I'm not worried about, like, honestly, Frankie Montas can take as much time as he needs to because I'm a Peterson and McGill guy. I know they don't always bring it, but there's guys that can go 7 innings, 1 hit, just like that. And sometimes it's not even lights out stuff. It's just find a way to get people out.
Outs to outs. I'm a big fan. Outs to outs. So, I want to ask you about, what do you think about Rafael Devers? Finally got his first hit.
Yeah. So was it today, right, that he got it?
Last night. Yeah, last night.
Okay.
That was weird.
12 strikeouts and 15 at bats.
No. 19 strikeouts and 21 at bats.
19 and 21. Wow.
Yes,
okay.
Something like that. I could be off a little bit, but something just like that. Yeah.
I think there's no way to tell. I mean, that's going to happen to everybody. It just happened to be this year. But it doesn't help that he was one of the guys, kind of like a Marcus Stroman, the Yankees, where he's talking so much about, I can't play this position. Oh, he's not going to come here, and so that chemistry.
He wanted to go, but it's no good. Oh, stop! He wanted. Bregman won a Gold Glove and a World Series.
Yes. Now, Bregman, did they overpay for him? Absolutely. He's not. He's more on the end of his career than the start of his career. So I get it, but that's not Devers' place to make those calls. Like he's not Mr. Boston Red Sox. He's not Derek Jeter playing in Yankee Stadium on year 17. Like the team's going to do what they got to do to make. They're not shipping Devers away, but they got to do what they got to do. If he's the best person available, look at it. If you're in a fantasy draft and you already have a second base, or you already have what name this position. Let's say you already have Vladimir Guerrero at first base, and your choices are Pete Alonso as a backup first base or the 7th best second baseman. What person wouldn't go for Pete Alonso in that case? Right. Because now you have your DH or your backup. So it just made all the sense in the world. That was they struck. There was an opportunity. They took advantage of it. So that probably has something to do. He was not mentally there, and now he's looking a little like a fool. So I'm sure he'll turn things around. But because I know they scored 2 runs today in the first inning, top of the first inning. I don't know if it was him or not that did anything, but I did see that today. So they're going to have to work together and figure that out because
How about the Orioles? A nice big slow start, huh? I'm surprised.
The Orioles.
Yeah, they're still in like a daze. They look uninspired.
They're sitting there in 3 and 4, but the big, of course, they lose Santander, who 43 home runs. So that's a big hit. Does seem like Cedric Mullins has been playing very well for them, though. I think he think I saw he's batting like 308, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs already. So he's kind of stopgap there. But I don't know. I haven't seen his Gunnar Henderson back yet. I know he started off the season.
I'm not sure.
I'll check that out real quick.
Yep.
Probable. Let's see. Probable. Oh, debut Friday. So he's not even played a game yet. So he'll be starting tomorrow. So.
Oh, by the way, since we're talking about that game, back to what we were talking about, Bregman hits home run today. So it's.
Yeah. Okay. He was going to pout in the dugout when he gets home.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah. What are you going to do in that case? So I think. What do you call it? Orioles a bit of a slow start. Surprised a little bit about that, but not. I think the other one. Now, talk about now. If you look at the American League Central, 2-4, 2-4, 2-4, 2-4, 2-5. So we knew that division. Some of the teams we kind of called it in our different 30 clubs in 30 days. The Tigers, the Royals, the Guardians, the Twins would not be. They would each probably go down just a little bit from where they were last year. So again, super early on, but even though they're 2-4, I see some fight in Chicago. I
love that. I want to see them do what we both had them, exponentially better. Getting maybe 12 to 20 more wins, which is a lot. I mean, they'll still give them a losing record, but I like some fight. I like the fight. I like that.
Yeah, no, I do, and I think it's Steve Stone, right? He still calls the games for Chicago. One of them. So I like hearing his voice and stuff. I saw some fans in attendance. That was kind of nice. If they just, I mean, they're technically tied for first right now, 4-way tie. So
that's okay. You know what?
That's all they got to do.
If the season ended now,
yes, all 4 would make the playoffs. But then you have a team like the Astros that looked really good against the Mets, 2-1. Now they're sitting there at 3-4, so they've kind of fallen back a little bit. Nationals, of course, they are what we thought they would be, but again, it's early on and stuff like that. And the other team you talked about, and none of us called it. We all put them in the gutter, and they probably still could finish in the gutter. But the St. Louis Cardinals look much better than
they look good. I like it.
They look really good. Yep. Mr. Newtbar did really well. So so it's been a fun week. It really does feel like an eventful first week. It's weird today because the Mets and the Rays are off. So
let's talk about how would the Mets were off on a Sunday.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yes, yeah. I'm surprised by that, but yep. So we'll see. I don't know if it's a day or an evening start tomorrow. Let me see. Mets tomorrow.
Looks like a rainout possibly, but I'm thinking, unfortunately.
Oh, really? That would be a bummer if you see. That's why when I booked the flight to Cincinnati, I was like, I've got to do the 2 games because if you put all your eggs in one basket and it gets rained out, then nothing happens. So that's why I went with the Wednesday night, Thursday doubleheader, or not doubleheader, but the 2 game swing. So, what do you call it?
Are you staying near the ballpark?
Yeah. So it's funny. I got the flight, and we got under the flight for cheap, and then I got the tickets. Now I just got to get the actual where we're going to stay.
There you go. That's okay.
Got to decide between Airbnb or a hotel. But we know that we're going to stay because we don't want to rent a car. We don't want to do all that. We just want to get an Uber from the airport, basically, to actually give me an airport to my job because my corporate office is in Sin City. So I'll get to meet everybody there. Then I'm getting a ride to the wherever we're going to stay. And then
remember, the airport is in Kentucky. Remember, the airport is in Kentucky, which is so weird.
It is. It's really weird. I remember speaking of Kentucky, they always make jokes. Kentucky's a little backwards, right? But I remember taking a horrible road trip, which I'm not a road trip guy. I'm not. Sometimes I make the trip from Orlando. We went to SeaWorld last week, and it was a lot of fun. And we're about 50 minutes in the drive. I'm like, this is the longest drive ever. I don't know how I did an 18-hour drive to Kentucky before. But So when you make, if you go a certain way, when you leave Kentucky, you're driving. Actually, you hit a point of Illinois, I think too. So it says you're leaving Kentucky, and then you go through Illinois, and then 50 minutes later, you see a sign that says "Welcome to Kentucky." Again, like the way it goes, you basically hit it twice. I was like, "What did we do?" I thought we were completely lost, but no, it was just that they're a little bit backwards there.
Well, I had a somewhat similar issue years ago. I love that turtle. Look at that. So somewhat similar. So years ago, I go to Virginia Beach for a spring break with some friends, and we drove. No, we flew. And 45-minute flight, that kind of thing. Drive is what? If there's no traffic, there always is. But if not, from Virginia Beach to New York, I don't know, 5-6 hours. So long story short, because I'm not bright, right? And I was culturally dense at this point. Because I go to McDonald's and I get a hamburger. And it turns out there's mustard on the hamburger. Ever tell you this story?
No.
Okay. So I take a bite, and I thought it was like a joke. So I go to the front, and I think I'm as nice as the day is long, and I said, "Excuse me, but there's mustard on this hamburger." And me not because I'm very dense, I still am. That like the whole country puts mustard on hamburgers except certain locations like New York. And she said, "Well, of course there is." So of course there is. I said, the mustard doesn't belong on a hamburger. She says, "This here is the South," which is in Virginia, because this here is the South. We put mustard on the hamburgers. And I remember saying, "You're a 5-hour car ride from Manhattan. This is not South. This is wannabe South." I said, Tennessee is South. Florida is South.
Right.
Virginia Beach, Virginia is Mid-Atlantic.
Yes. I think you win the argument there. I think, or the conversation, I would say.
No, but it was the same kind of thing. Like I'm in Kentucky, I'm not in Kentucky, now I'm in Kentucky again. Same kind of thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yep. No, and so I think it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to try to find things to do around there. I am going to try on the day game to try to get there a couple hours early to kind of really get some batting practice time in and all that kind of stuff.
The park is right on the water, by the way.
Yeah,
right
we do have an early flight both mornings. I think our flight's like 6:00 in the morning both days, which like I can wake up early, but then you realize that a 6:00 flight really means crazy early because you have to get to the airport like 2 hours early and all that good stuff. So it'll be fine though. But,
so it's just the boys on the trip?
Yep, just going to be us.
We're
going to be leaving on Wednesday the 16th and coming back on Friday the 18th. So it's a quick little
everything about that.
Yep, hop in, and then get the next that'll be stadium, which is crazy. It's only going to be stadium number 6 of the current stadiums, but it's another challenge.
Listen, and by the way, the stadiums that are no longer here, they count.
Yeah. Yep.
Everybody tells you they do. You had an experience, you were there.
Yes, so technically, I mean, I guess I'm not counting Steinbrenner because I've been there before, but never for a regular season game, so I'm not counting that in there. But of course, Shea, Yankee Stadium, and all that jazz. But
if you go there to watch Tampa play, then you should count it because it's a pro game.
Yeah, if I make it to one game, then then we definitely will. So we're considering.
Well, let me know what you think of Cincinnati's park because I'd be very interested to see what you think.
Yeah, I definitely will. Hopefully, go live from there for a little bit and check it out. But I'm very excited. When I decided that's where I was going to go, I was thinking I'll go somewhere in the summer, and I was like, you know what, I want the weather to be kind of nice and not be sweating and dripping and all that kind of stuff. So it's like let's just go for it. So we'll go next. Go sooner.
That's great.
They're playing the Mariners, so that'll be nice. Get to see a Rosarina and all those guys. So that'll be nice.
Fun fact, ready?
Yes.
You ready for this? Because I am a nerd, right? I'm like a book nerd. I am a baseball nerd. So you're going to see the Queen City play the Queen City.
Okay.
Told you. Both places are called the Queen City.
That's there. That's good. I didn't even think about that. But when you say it out loud, it's like, yeah, that makes sense.
When you say it out loud, you're like, you should have shut up.
So those those of you guys watching along now, I know it's kind of been a little bit of a different schedule lately, but we weren't live this past Sunday. So this Sunday, we won't be live again because we'll be going, myself, with Heather and Mark and some others from the church. We are going to be helping host the Rare of Breed and Joe Nestor concert in Melbourne. So super, super excited for that. Already over 500 tickets sold for the show. I think it fits 600 people in the venue. So we're almost already full before tickets are, before they even sell them at the door. So it's going to be an awesome night. I know that they've had over 100 some odd people receive Jesus at the different concert tours, and there were different venues and stuff. They just started in early March, and Melbourne is the last stop of the tour. But it's been such a successful tour that they're extending it to Washington and Idaho as well. So they'll get some dates there. So super cool. So for Sunday night, I'll probably won't be able to go live from the venue because we'll be doing setup and stuff like that. So definitely sooner though, and then later you'll see us again here for our next episode. And we'll let you know what we'll be talking about. But we had to make sure we came live to you tonight on a Thursday, talk a little bit about Major League Baseball and the very, very dynamic.
Maybe next Thursday and Sunday. Maybe we'll do a double dip. A little double dip.
Double dip it. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. And we have some people wanting to come on. We just got to make sure it all works out right. So we'll play it by ear until we get confirmation. But any final thoughts, Darren, on week 1 of the season? Anything we might not have covered yet, or anything you're looking forward to this next 7 days?
I'm looking forward to just getting into the season, right? The road trips, the teams. You still have a bunch of teams that haven't played a home game yet. I want to get into the season, right? 4 or 5 series in, you see how you're doing. Month of April, is behind you. Get into May. I just love everything about baseball. It is the greatest. Even despite Manfred trying to ruin the game, as a commissioner, I say that half kidding. I just love the game. I think it's an international game. I just love it very much.
Yes, I just love that you can put it on the background. Like it can be like the quiet, like you're almost at a library listening to the game, or just watching it on the background, or you can have it on and live on every little pitch. So I just love that about Major League Baseball. Like I was able to just put on a random game today in the background and just it was great. I am a big fan of the interleague play. Like every team plays every team, but you only do it once, so you're not going to Cincinnati if you're ready. Like if you're an American League team, you're not going to Cincinnati and then hosting them in your own stadium, right? Or, flip-flopping. So that I do like. So you're not playing 19 times against your division. But one of the things, there's a lot of the season is weird. You would think they would start off with some division matchups. A lot of interleague play these first 2 series so far. But one thing I found, and I just wanted to pull this stat up here before we go to one thing that's really crazy to me is that the Mets do not play the Braves until June 17th.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, right? Like they'll be playing each other 12 times, but for the first now, with that said, they'll be playing the Marlins again after the Blue Jays. They play the Marlins this time at home. So, it's just, it is what it is. It's how the schedule came together, but so there's that.
By then, I would not be surprised if by then the Braves have righted the ship.
Yeah, that could be, because that's right around that time, right? Yep. Pretty much. I think, I think this time next week, it'll be interesting when we go live. I'm sure we'll touch base on how week 2 went, but we'll see if some teams that are up there now kind of fell back down to earth, or some teams that had a slow start really started picking things up. But thank you guys so much for watching episode number 71 of the Around the Ballpark podcast. We are just a few subscribers away. It says in the bottom from 2,060. So keep it coming.
Let's do it.
Subscribing. Get us to that 2,100. It'll be the best thing you've done. Pay it forward. But until next time, guys, thank you, Darren. Until next time, we will see you around the ballpark.